We got some new information on the After Hours Nightclub DLC from an exclusive interview done by one of the DJs that's going to be featured in this update. That would be Dixon. So as I told you guys a couple days ago, he was on Pete Tong's BBC Radio 1 show that he hosts on Friday night. And at the very end of the show, he actually had Dixon on. And he not only played a lot of the music that was going to be featured in the GTA update, which I won't unfortunately be able to play in this video. I don't know how, copyright and stuff like that works with Dixon's music. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I will leave a link to BBC Radio 1's website in the description. And if you're watching this within a couple of days, you actually should be able to go back and re-listen to the entire set. Now, Dixon's stuff comes on at the end, in case you guys are curious. I was actually listening to this live, and it was very frustrating. Pete Tong would mention Dixon and GTA like every 10 minutes, but then wouldn't get to it until the end of his 2-hour set. So they were definitely really, really teasing it a ton. But I'm actually going to let you guys take a listen to the entire Dixon interview that happened. And he actually reveals a lot of interesting stuff about the Grand Theft Auto Online After Hours update. So it's about 2 minutes and 45 seconds, but almost the entire interview gives new information on the After Hours update. So we're going to take a listen to this right now, and as soon as it's done, I'll get back and we'll discuss it.
Ahead of your appearance in the new GTA game. Now, I've got to tell you, I've got a theory about this. The people that make this game must have gone on an away day or something to Time Warp or Awakenings or Ibiza for the first time, and they stumbled across you guys. How did you get involved?
Yeah, they actually came to a couple of shows for Solomon and me in Ibiza. And actually, you're right, they were at Time Warp and in London, I think. And, well, they came up with the idea to include a nightclub in the game.
I mean, it's not out yet. It's coming out. I believe we can reveal today that it's coming out on the 24th of July. How did they get you involved? And what did it involve? Because it's more than just making music for the game, right?
Yeah, so basically I met them in the clubs and it was like a short conversation. A month after, very formal via email, I got this offer. And in the beginning I thought it was only music for the cars. And I was interested, but it didn't really struck me as something extremely special. Later on, I think I read the email the third time and realized it's not just about filing some music for the radio station or for the car. It's about being actually in the game.
So it's you and Solomon. I believe Black Madonna's in it as well, and Taylor Us. Games have a great history with electronic music. It's good to see you guys involved in a new and original way. Got to ask you this as well. Did you get to pick your own clothes? Have they dressed you cool?
Yes. they actually even my rings, my necklaces, we picked our own clothes. It's pretty easy for them now with the performance capture they're doing. And while they film us, they also film our face. That's what they actually can do easily. But clothes, it's still a big thing to like how they fall when you run.
They're getting so realistic. I'm sure they've done an amazing job. Yeah. So let's get into this mix. I want to know where the club is in this game. That's going to make me curious now. I want to go and find it. Are you hidden?
Yeah. Regarding the mix, for me, there's one mix for the car. There is also the mix in the club. So for me, I had to find a balance between music that you would like to listen to when you drive the car and music that you would like to listen to in a club, which is obviously not exactly the same. I decided actually to focus more on the car because I think you spend more time in the car in the game than in the club actually. I don't want to put a mix that is like all the brand new stuff or one specific style. I try to find a balance of putting some classics in without sounding too cheesy.
We'll have another chat in about 10 minutes time. This is Dixon. What can I say? Live from GTA.
Yes.
So a pretty awesome interview. In case you couldn't tell, the guy doing the interview was Pete Tong. The guy talking was Dixon. I apologize about the quality. That's straight from like the BBC Radio 1's website. And of course, they had like kind of music in the background. But the first thing was revealed was kind of interesting how they came about almost like the idea for this update. It almost sounds as if Rockstar employees were just enjoying a night out on the town. They ran into a DJ, Dixon and Solomon, at a nightclub and said, hey, this would be awesome to do in Grand Theft Auto, to add nightclubs into the game, to have you guys involved. And it seems like Dixon and Solomon were already pretty close. So that's almost how it came about. Literally, Rockstar employees just having a good time. Now, I'm sure there were other elements to this. I mean, nightclubs and the nightlife scene is a highly requested theme for online, but I do think it's funny that, them just enjoying themselves at a London nightclub or something like that probably inspired this update. And it kind of makes you wonder how long ago that sort of thing happened. Was this over a year ago? Because there almost seemed like there had to be a lot of planning done, as we're going to touch on in a little bit, for them to do like the motion capture, for them to sort of do all the cutscenes and whatnot. This isn't something you can just do in like a day. So it almost makes me think that this update had been planned for a long, long time, and it kind of took a little bit of, getting going to see this in online. But this is really cool. Now, what's funny is after their initial encounter, Dixon thought he was just doing music for the game. Like they would be using his existing music for like the radio stations or the nightclubs. It turns out they wanted a lot more from him, obviously, as he was featured in the game. He's going to be involved in creating new music for the update itself. So it's really cool that Rockstar didn't just want to like sample his music, but really wanted him to get involved. One of the funniest parts of the interview was when Pete Tong says, "Did you get to pick your own clothes?" And I did think that's pretty funny. If you will notice, all the DJs are in their own specific styles, but it is cool the level of detail he goes in. His clothes, his rings, his necklaces, all of them were featured. And he kind of goes into describing the motion capture process of doing work for Rockstar, where they not only track your movement, but they track your face and they track the clothing you have on, which I just think is incredibly cool. So I think that is awesome right there. Again, Dixon goes into the process of describing what it's like working with Rockstar and, doing some of the motion capture for them. However, probably the biggest bit of information that Dixon reveals comes at the end when he says that he had to create 2 mixes for the update. One mix for the car and one mix for the nightclub. So this confirms a couple of things. Number one, there's going to be different music that we hear in the nightclubs and different music that we hear in the car. Now that makes sense because in a nightclub, it'd be kind of awkward to hear commercials about crime in Los Santos. That just doesn't make sense. But in the car, that would make sense. It's sort of a news radio blip. So in the nightclub, I think it's just going to be purely music, whereas in the car, it's going to act like a normal radio station. Number two, this confirms we're getting a new radio station. Now, this should have been pretty obvious. The last 2 big updates we've had, Smuggler's Run and Doomsday Heist, both had new radio stations. The Doomsday Heist added Blonded FM. The Smuggler's Run added like that Ron podcast on Blaine County Radio. And this looks like we're going to be getting a new electronic dance music station. Now, I'm not sure what it's going to be called. Electroshock West, Intervisions, something, but it's going to be a new radio station, and Dixon had to work on a separate one for the car and the nightclubs, and that is cool. The level of detail there is obviously awesome. Dixon brings up some other good points. He says the kind of music you listen to in the car is different from the kind of music you would listen to in the club, and that totally makes sense. So I'm really glad that Rockstar didn't just copy and paste the radio station from the car over to the nightclub. Now, another thing Dixon points out, and it's really smart of him, he says more people are probably going to spend times in the car. And that's true. I mean, the game is called Grand Theft Auto for a reason. So he actually said he spent more time working on the set in the car than the one we're going to hear in the nightclub. And when describing the mix that we're going to be listening to, he said he wanted it to be filled with classics, but also not sounding too cheesy. So it seems as if we're going to be getting music from other artists as well, which is certainly not uncommon. Like if you've ever been to a concert like that, or a music festival, that just because the main person's performing, they don't just play their own songs. Like they play other people's songs, whether it's their friends or popular music or just music that they enjoy. So again, really, really cool stuff right there. Now, at the very end, you heard Pete Tong say that we'd come back in about 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes was up, we really didn't hear anything more from Dixon. They were just talking about the mix itself. And once again, as much as I'd love to show you that mix right now, I'm really not too sure how that would fly on YouTube. So all you got to do is go to BBC Radio 1. You can actually listen to this as well. I'm not going to lie, the music, kind of awesome. So I'm getting really excited about this update, really because I think all 4 of the DJs we've seen so far make some really good music. I mean, they all have different styles. I hadn't listened to a ton of Dixon before this, but man, now he's got some really good stuff out there. So it's really fun to listen to that and sort of see how he puts his touch and his own spin on the Nightclub update. So that right there is more information revealed from an exclusive interview on BBC Radio 1. We're going to be getting a new radio station that has been confirmed, new music for the cars and the clubs. Unfortunately for me, it's a little bit hard to enjoy the music because I make YouTube videos. I have to have my music turned off, which is kind of a bummer. But I might have to turn it on when I'm not, streaming or making videos, because the music is going to be such a huge part of this update. I know it might seem silly, we're talking about music instead of cars or properties or whatnot, but in an update like this, the music is key. I mean, without it, it would just be such an awkward update. So I'd love to hear from you guys, though, in the comments down below. What do you think about this new information from Dixon and how his involvement is in the Nightclub update in terms of making new music and more? If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.